It's that time of year again, YouTube. It is Sims 4 2 years anniversary. Now, I know a lot of you are gonna say, well, baby girl, you didn't play Sims 4. You are correct. I didn't play Sims 4 past the beginning. I tried it for 24 hours, and to my dismay, I ended up returning it and getting a full refund because that was the last straw for me when it comes to these developers cutting features out of the game and selling you a half-ass product. I'm gonna keep it real and 100 here. Um, the Sims, oh, The Sims, how I loved The Sims. Seriously, really, really love The Sims. I've been with it since the beginning. I've watched it progress and I've watched it degress. So um, it's just amazing of what it came from to what it is now. It's like they're going back in time. Um, we all know of the missing features that's in part four. We all know of the vast, vast differences from part four to part three, and a lot of these things is what upset the Sims community. Um, After The Sims 4 came out, there was a huge divide. That's what I call it. The huge divide in the Sims community. Before Sims 4 came, there we really didn't have a big divide. I mean, we really didn't have an argument on whether 3 was better than 2. We Everybody pretty much agreed that we loved where they were going with part 3. I guess the biggest gripe with part 3 was a lot of people had problems running part 3 on their systems. Part 3 was very it did use a lot of your CPU power, and a lot of people couldn't run part 3 properly or on its highest settings. With me being that I was a huge Sims fan, every time a Sims would come out, I would get a new laptop because, like I said, I didn't play on desktop. I like to play on my computer. I like to take my Sims with me wherever the hell I went and do whatever I wanted to do with them. You know, it was that bad. I had an addiction. It was borderline unhealthy, but it was one of those good addictions, where oh yeah, you just couldn't get enough of it, right? So it was just really crazy with the way that the jump from 1 to 2 was. I mean, everybody got a kick out of part 1, but part 2 revolutionized everything. It was like I guess the thing that really got me with part 2 was being able to zoom in and actually be inside of your Sim's house and be like face to face with your Sim inside of a room and all of that stuff. And that's what really got me with part 2. Okay, because like from part 1, it was more of like an aerial view. You really couldn't zoom in. They were like little dolls in a dollhouse. More of that's what they were. They were like dolls in a dollhouse. You really couldn't zoom in. It was like an aerial view. But that huge leap from part 1 to part 2, where you could actually get into the actual house and see your Sims up close. It was just, yes, and then the modding community introduced itself with part 2 with all of the different vast things that they released for the games that you could download and customize and all of that. And then they just took it to a whole nother level with part 3, where not only you know you not only could you zoom in on your character, but everything loads in this world, and you can go next door and you can go sightseeing, you can go down the street. You are no longer confined to your lot. um, Towards the end of the part 2 series, they did introduce some stuff packs that allowed like the framework of the houses in your neighborhood to show, like next door and down the street you could see houses like appear kind of, but they weren't really there. It was static, okay? But when they made that leap to part three, everybody knew where they was going. We're talking about a huge sandbox open world, and everything was loaded where you weren't confined to one spot, and it was just great. They microtransaction the hell out of us with the Sim store, and that's kind of where and when I kind of saw the Sims going downhill, because they frowned upon modders or people that were really into that actually took the time to build special objects for the game. This is an art, those type of modder people who know how to mod and create the objects for the game outside of EA. That is an art. A lot of these modders are like unbelievably talented, and that's when I realized that EA didn't want you to. They didn't want you to get mods. They didn't want you to mod your program. They didn't want you to put anything in the program but EA material. And a lot of I think that the program was sabotaged to not work properly when you introduce mods into it or whatever. But that's a conspiracy theory. There's no proof of that, okay? But that's where I did notice that it did go downhill. Not we're not gonna say that EA wasn't releasing stuff packs and DLC that could be purchased. um, they did release some pretty good stuff packs and things that you could add to part three. I enjoyed them. I spent a lot of money on the stuff packs, the expansions. I think I have every expansion except for two, for Sims 3. Okay. And I really did support their online store with buying their in-game purchases for like their different furniture stuff packs and all of that, because you guys know decorating is my thing. So I knew it was going downhill then, just because they were becoming very greedy, very controlling with their program. I mean, I can understand why, but at the same time, it was like they didn't want us to get free features from anyone else. They wanted you to only come to them for features, but you had to pay for them. So that's not cool. I understand why, because you want to make money, but at the same time, they were being assholes with people that are they it's not like these people were selling mods. These mods were free to download, and it's just something different, for the game. And like I said, it just took a bad turn. Now, we're not going to talk about the false advertisement with the jump from 1 to 2, because when we saw the advertisement for part 2, it was like once you got the game was good within itself, but everything that you saw in that advertisement for part 2 when they first launched it, you never ever got to do really any of that stuff that's in the trailer. But we're not going to take away from the fact that part 2 was a very good game. It just was good. It was good, okay? It was just good, okay? It introduced so many things that I cannot list them all in this video. And the trailer for part 3, though, it was a little more accurate to what you could actually do. It wasn't a lot of bells and whistles with part 3. You pretty much, if you had a computer that can run it, you were on cloud 9. And if you didn't have a computer that could run it, you were in shitty graphics heaven because you had to run the game on its lowest settings, and 9 times out of 10 you still would have problems with it, but the community was still together. Everybody still loved the Sims. Okay. Now when when part 4 was introduced, um, it divided the community, and it was a, we've been strong, okay, we've been a strong community, but the community is pretty much divided right now. You have one side of the community who likes the game, and then you have the other side of the community that absolutely hates the game and refuses to play it. Who've tried it, we've tried it, we didn't like it. Like I said, the only, when I played Sims 4, the only benefit that I saw with Sims 4 was the roof tool. Whatever, whoever worked on the roofs deserve, on the tool for the roof for part 4, deserves an A plus, because if anybody has been the people, my Sims people that have followed me, you guys know roofs were my nemesis. I could build a out cold crazy 4-story house and all of this, but when it comes to the roof, I would spend sometimes hours tinkering to get it to look a certain way. So again, that's the only really real thing that I really liked about Sims 4 was the roof tool. I did not like the way that that the house is capped off, I think, at 3 stories. I didn't like that. I didn't like the fact that all of the houses, if you have a foundation on your house, every house within the neighborhood would have to be on a foundation also. I hated the fact that they took away open world. I hated that. That was like the nail in the coffin deal breaker for me, was not having that open world that we just came from with Sims 3. Okay, now pools and toddlers, they weren't there during launch, but now they're there, I think. If I'm not mistaken, I think they're there. Um, and it's just a really, really dumbed down version of, I really don't want to say it's a dumbed down version of 3, because in my mind, no one is contending with 3 at all. I feel still to this day that part 3 is the superior Sims. I feel that Sims 4 is more of a upgrade of Sims 1, so, and that's just telling the truth, because we've went back to loading screens. While the graphics may be different, may be better, and you can zoom in, to the houses and stuff, and they, and all of that, but I just don't see it being any, I don't even think Sims 4 can contend with 2 or 3. And that's really messed up, but I feel that it's the truth. Um, like I said, I prided myself on building in the game. A lot of people pride themselves on, controlling their Sims, taking them through, the different life stages, and creating a generation or a family tree, and you follow them and whatever. But I did start playing the Sims like that, but I ended up going towards the architectural, things with the game, where I just enjoy building and decorating. And that's one of the things that I could say that I really miss about The Sims is building, decorating, putting those speed builds together for you guys and showing them. It's just, nothing is preventing me from still playing part 3. But playing part 3 kind of hurts still, because I know its predecessor sucks. And I don't know if we'll ever see anything to the level of Sims 2 or 3 ever again. Now, I still feel the same way, and it's Sims 4 2-year anniversary, and I say that the divide is still there from 2 years ago. If not, it's gotten a little worse, because since then Maxis has closed. EA has shut Maxis down, and um, there's just like a small team that's still working on on the Sims. I guess within EA, but it's just a really really sad story to see where it came from to what it has become. Um, I truly truly miss the Sims. I do. Um, I'm not gonna say I feel lost without it, but at the same time, nothing is there to replace it. Nothing is there to fill that gap. There, like all of the other games out there where if somebody didn't like Call of Duty, they could go to Battlefield. You see what I'm saying? Because it's a game out there like Call of Duty that you could have an alternative. And that's what's really shitty about being a Sims fan or being in, following or being with this franchise from the beginning. There is no other franchise that simulates like The Sims. And like I said, I want to say it's rest in peace to them. It's kind of like I'm trying to say goodbye to it. So 2 years later, Sims 4 anniversary, can't even really be happy about it because, like I said, I just really feel the developers did not listen to their fan base. And I really don't think that it's gonna survive. I mean, if they do come out with something else, I wish them well. I wish that I hope they return it to its glory, to its well-deserved glory. They revolutionized simulation games with this, and to see it take a vast step backwards is very disappointing. So I just wanted to put my thoughts out there about The Sims 4 and its 2 year anniversary. I still get, like I said, I still get videos or people talking to me and asking me, when am I going to do, am I going to return to The Sims? It's very, very hard for me to return to The Sims. Just because I know what it has become. So it's like an open wound. So again, it's like an open wound, you guys. And it's really, really hard for me to continue with Sims 3. I mean, I guess I could play Sims 3 forever, but it's really, really hard to know what it came from to what it is now. It's really, really sad. And I really wish that these companies would listen to their fan bases and the people that have supported them since day one. So I guess you can call this an open letter to EA. You guys make sure you tweet it and share it with them, because it really needs to be addressed. They divided family pretty much, because we were all family. We all got along. There were people on the Sims 3 website that didn't like the Sims 3 just because they couldn't run it. But they had the extension of their fellow Simmers helping them or trying to help and troubleshoot and get their shit working. And now it's like, now we hate the other side. We don't even like those people that support the garbage that has the nerves to parade around with the Sims logo on it and dare to call itself a Sims game or a predecessor of The Sims 3. Most of us don't even talk to them. We've created like our own anti area for Sims 4. Like if you like Sims 4, you go to that part of the forum, and if you like Sims 3 or if you disagree with Sims 4, come to this part of the forum. It's serious. It's really, they divided a family. We used to be together and helping each other out. Now it's none of that anymore. So again, like I said, I love the people in the Sims community, but like I said, it's still kind of an open wound, because like I said, I've put in hundreds and hundreds of dollars into the Sims from part 1 to part 3. I bought every single expansion and anything that you could, if it had Sims on it, I was freaking buying it. And I know I'm not the only one. It's just sad. It's still sad. It's still sad 2 years later. So happy anniversary. But I can't be sincere about it. I can't.